Hey guys, and welcome to another fully defined video. This one today, we're going to help my son create a little carry box for his Pokemon cards. Now, I did try and shortcut this by downloading, and the problem with this, I didn't really look through the comments and details of the project that closely, but it's not just for the cards. So when we did print it and he pulled it off the printer and fit the cards in, I just had a little bit too much room. So I said we can do better. We can stick to the original style of this and do something that's actually going to suit the cards without the holders that they come with. So this tutorial's, or this video is going to be for beginners. We're going to look at how to build a simple two-part box and also reference a sketch image. So we're going to bring a sketch image in and use that in our drawing. So just a shout out to Taniva 1030 on MakerWorld for his model. Did rate it 5 stars. Very good, just not quite the size for what we're after here. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with just a standard part file. And we're going to do this in a multi-body part, and then we'll split them out for the 3D printing aspect. Okay, so what we're going to start with is actually getting the size of the card and the artwork into our file here. I'm not going to do anything fancy. Main thing that I am going to do is I've done a search online and just found a good piece of artwork. This one on DeviantArt by Atomic Monkey TCG. I just logged in and downloaded this image because one thing that you can do in SolidWorks is insert images into your sketches, into your part files, into your assemblies, often for reference. And that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First, on this top plane, we're going to draw our card and dimension it. So we're doing a center rectangle. I'll just grab my calipers. I'm just going to measure the size of this card. Could look it up, but I'm just going to do it while we've got it here. 61.2 by 86.7. Let's just check if that's the right size. All right. They are 2.5 by 3.5 inches, 63 by 88 millimeters. So we're a little bit undersized here with these ones. We don't mind a little bit of clearance. Maybe that card I had was a bit of a dodgy cut. It does look a little bit undersized compared to another one. So I'll go with the official size, 88 by 63. I'm not going to worry so much about the radius. I don't think we're going to put that in our part, but it looks to be about 3 millimeters. Let's put that in, and we're just going to leave this here as a sketch. And then we're going to do another sketch on the top plane, and this is where we're going to insert our image. So to do that, I'm going to go Tools, Sketch Tools, and I actually have to be in a sketch for this to work, and I can use this original sketch. So I'm going to use that there. Now, Tools, Sketch Picture, which is just down here. I'll just move my head for a second. Sketch picture, it's just off the screen where you can see it right there at the bottom. And then I'm going to go to the file. Now I've just put it in my downloads. That's this Pokemon card PNG. I'm going to open that up. Low resolution is fine. And you can see it's huge, okay? But we can scale it down, and I can scale it here to dimensions. So we've got this 1477 by 2048. If I change that to 88 and scale that card right down to size, and then if I want to move the location, I can click and drag it manually like this, or I can actually put in some dimensions. So X direction is going horizontally side to side. So that's going to be minus 31.5. And then height is going to be minus 44. All right, and then we have it in perfect location. Now we can also make it a bit transparent. So transparency, you can go full image and just put that up to like 0.5. So we can kind of see through it. And then I'm going to press OK. Now that sketch is going to show, or that image is going to show, whilst the sketch is visible. If the sketch is hidden, then I can't see that image. Okay, so now let's draw our box. First, let's save that. I don't want to lose this one. Always good to get a save off early. Okay, and we're going to use the one that we downloaded and printed as a reference. Okay, it's quite a nice design. It's got some quite good thickness and detail to it, so we can reference a lot of that, but we don't need to be exactly the same. Let's go on the top plane, and first I'm going to design the inner frame, and to do that I'm just going to go like a millimeter bigger than the existing. So I've dropped it on the center point, just going to put a millimeter on that side and a millimeter on this side. And then these are going to be my inner walls. My inner walls on this sample here are about 1.5 millimeters. They feel a little bit flimsy. This is for my son, he's 6, so I'm going to bump those up a little bit. And I want to give them some good height, because that's going to determine how many cards they can fit in. So I'm going to make it 20 mil. Now this extrude here, I'm going to use the thin feature. I'm going to set that thickness to 2. I'm going to set the height to 22. Press OK. And then I want to do a surrounding bottom cover. Now that is going to have a 3 mil wall thickness. So here we're going to reference the existing shape and use the offset entities tool. So on the sketch toolbar, offset entities, change that to 3 millimeters, press OK, and then thickness. Extrude, this one change to blind, 3 millimeters. We're going to go down. So when we do this, you can see instead of going up, it would merge in with the existing body and reduce the height of those walls. I want to make them a bit longer, so I'm going down. Okay, and that creates the bottom of my shape, the bottom of my box. All right, now that looks pretty good. Let's do the top side of the box. So how this will work, we will do a sketch here, convert entities for the outside, and then for the inside layer, I'm going to select loop. I want to select the around the face, and we'll give this a little bit of clearance. So let's say 0.4 of a millimeter. Okay, so when those two boxes slide over each other, it's not going to be like a super tight fit. All right, it's not going to, they're not going to drag on the edges. We know there's a bit of tolerance in 3D printing, so we'll keep that nice and smooth there. And we will go just a little bit past this face, maybe half a millimeter. All right, so this side is going to sit above that face there. So you can see reverse offset. When that's ticked, it's going above. I'm going to uncheck merge result because this is going to be the outside of the box. And then I'm going to convert that edge and do another extrude. This will be blind 3 millimeters. This will merge just with this one. And then we have our box. We have 2 solid bodies and we have a top and a bottom. Let's make the bottom body a different color. Let's make it green. And if we make the top transparent, then we can see what our box looks like. And we can see in the preview, you know, the clearances that we have around the part. All right, so that's the basics done. Now we can add a little bit of finesse to this file. So first up, I'm going to, what I'd like to do, as this sample has here, it's got a really nice sort of detail on the front and the back. It's got a Pokémon logo, or Pokeball. It's got a nice hexagonal cut through everything. And this inside piece here has a nice shape through the middle so that, you know, you can grab the cards out from the sides. So we're going to add in those details. Let's add in the one at the bottom first. This one should be pretty easy. So just using this size as a reference, felt pretty good. There's 25 millimeters through the middle. So what we can do here is a sketch on this top face, a rectangle shape, going all the way to the edges, make it 25 millimeters in between. And I'm going to do cut extrude up to this surface. Because I use the isolate tool, this is the only body that's showing at the moment, which means if I do this cut, it's only going to cut through this body. I'm going to turn isolate off. You can see the other body still has its full shape. To use isolate, you can right click on a body. You can click on this little menu here where it says isolate. I have also created a hotkey, which is the letter I. So when I select a body and I press I, automatically goes to that isolate mode. Now this one also has some nice fillets on those edges. So let's add some fillets. So top and bottom, it's got fillets. I'm just looking to see if there's a shortcut here to get the edges that I want. Doesn't look like it. That's okay. I'm going to click on these 4 edges on both sides. Okay. Now that one looks pretty good. On our parts, at the moment, we've also got these sharp corners everywhere. So we'll just add this, a little fillet to these. And do the same on the outside edges too. So we'll just give it like half a millimeter radius on the inside edges. We can do it selecting each of these on the inside. Okay, so 4 edges. Now I can only do fillets on one body at a time. So even though there's a separate body, which will probably have some of the same fillets, we'll just do them separately. The thickness of this part is 2 millimeters. My internal radius is 0.5, then I should make my external radius, the internal radius plus the thickness. So that would be 2.5. And then if we want to keep a nice shape going, we're going from this wall to this wall, 3 millimeters. So I could do a 5 millimeter radius on these outside edges here. Okay, so that is looking much nicer now. If I exit isolate and I look at the outside box, we can see that and it doesn't quite match up. So we'll have to do the same treatment on the inside. That's fine. Let's do that now. So I'm going to isolate this one, hide on my sketch. On the inside, I'm going to do 0.5 mil radiuses. And on the outside, where our thickness has changed a little bit because we did that offset, it's only 2.6, but I want to keep those fillets the same. So I'm going to do 5 mil, I think it's 5.5. No, 5 mil is correct. 5 millimeters for each of these outside edges so that the top and bottom match. And then for the very top face, you're going to leave that flat, okay? Because when we do our 3D print, that's going to be flat on the print bed. If I need to afterwards, I can just take the edge off with a ruler or a sharp blade. I think it'll be all right. So the radiuses are now looking pretty good. Let's add a little bit of detail. And what I wanted to do was actually do the similar sort of pattern for the Pokeball, but actually reference the artwork that's there. So on the front and back, we can see the Pokemon text and we can see the ball. Now to do that, I have to make sure that I'm doing the same thing. If the card is facing the front or the back, I have to flip it around. So to start with, we'll do it on the front face so that if the cards are facing up, let's say, we can get that text showing. Now, I'm just gonna, all right, now, before I do that, I actually thought maybe I could get the Pokemon text in here. Pokemon's a pretty sort of common logo. So instead of tracing it in the SolidWorks, I should be able to find a vector file of that online. A vector file is one that has the line work within the file. So I've gone to a site that I've used for a very long time, brandsoftheworld.com. You have to log in. I've done a search and I can see there's a Pokemon logo here, which has an AI file. So I'm going to download that file and I'm going to open that up. Now it's an .ai file. We can't import that straight into SolidWorks, but I can open the AI file, resize it, and then save it as a DXF file. That DXF file we can import straight into SolidWorks. I'm not sure exactly how well this logo will print, 3D print, or how well it will look in the box, but take us a few minutes to try it. All right, so the vector file that we've got, we can see here. It's actually got a few more layers than I would like. All right, but let's focus maybe just on the blue colors. So I'm going to edit this, just get rid of, actually I've got a good idea. I'm just going to merge everything. Because if I just get an outline, that's probably going to be enough. And then I'm just going to get rid of these holes on the inside. Now this is Illustrator tools. I'm not doing a tutorial on this one, but just showing you part of my process here. These are some of the tools of the trade for a product designer. Okay, I'm just clearing out all the dangling lines. Just going to save me time in SolidWorks. I still might have issues like with little bits like that. But I could probably clean that up by selecting it all and just going to path simplify. And yeah, that just gets rid of a few points and it's still going to do the trick, right? Okay, so that looks pretty good. What size does it need to be? About, if I'm measuring on the card, 51 millimeters. So if I select it, I just change the size here to width 51 millimeters. Okay, that's the size I need. I'm going to go to an outline and I'm going to save this as, I'm going to go to my folder where everything is, and I'm going to save it as an AI file first so I can come back and edit it if I need to. But after that, I'm going to export as a DXF file. So I'm going to go File, Export as, save as type, DXF, export. I'm going to make pick 1 millimeter equal 1 unit because I'm in millimeters within SolidWorks. Okay. Let's flick back over. We are in a sketch here already. Now, when you insert a DXF, you actually want to be out of a sketch and you select the face you want to insert the sketch. So I'm selecting this top face and I'm going to insert DXF. I'm going to browse to that folder. The file is, you can see it here. Gonna go open. I'm gonna import it as a 2D sketch, and I'm gonna use millimeters for the imported data and go finish. I'll import it to the origin. Where is it imported to? Over here. It's just hidden at the moment. I'll turn that on, I can see it. I'll right click here and go make edit sketch. That turns it into a normal sketch that I can then move. So I'm going to edit sketch. I'm going to group it. So select all of those, make it into a block. I'm just going to move it into position. Now you can see it hasn't imported perfectly, but maybe it saved me a little bit of time. I think I might just have to scale it up a little bit. Let me just get the scale right. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I can explode the block or edit the block just to clean up these little bits here. They've got a bit funny. I'm just going to draw that one in there, and this one here. Just going to delete that one, take that over, trim that away. Right, rest of it looks decent. Close the block, close the sketch. Okay, so I've got a logo there. So I'm going to do the logo and a Pokeball in the middle, both front and back, and then I'll fill the rest of the space with a hexagon tool. So let's just see if we can cut using that. And the answer is no, we can't. Now, unfortunately, I spent way too much time trying to fix this sketch. I should have given up, but or I should have tried a different method a bit earlier. Essentially, what I was trying to do is discover where my imported sketch just didn't work, was messy and needed to be replaced. But it turned out I need to replace half the sketch here, and in the end, anyway, the logo itself is not really suitable for this kind of cut-through detail. It's just too many sort of sharp points. It doesn't really look that good. Didn't really match up, as well with the Pokemon card as I would have liked. So, yeah, look, it's all a bit of experimentation, so that's fine. But if you hold on and watch the second section of the video, version 2 of this, we do it in a much better method and get a much better result. All right, so another trick you can use is divide up the shape into segments and use selected contours to see which ones you can extrude. So this side I can, this side I can't. So that means the problem is on that other side. So let's just try another little sketch segment from here to here. Let's try it again. So if we want to do this one we can, this one we can't, this one we can. So the problem's in here. So we're just narrowing down where that problem section is, and then we can go through and select each of the segments to find where it is. So it's somewhere in here. All right, so now we know that it's in that area. Okay, so one thing we could do now is just delete each of these segments, there's not that many, and redraw them, which I could do. So I'm just going to draw one line at a time. So what I'm going to do is delete a line and then re-sketch the line in between the two remaining points. Now I'm just using straight lines for all of these. And last one here. Let's see if that's fixed the issue. We can go back to our boss extrude and see if we can select this face. And now we can. So that has fixed the problem. If we go back here, we delete all these dividing lines. You can see we can now do an extrude, which is good. So that now means we can do an extruded cut through that top face. All right, a lot more fluffing around than I would have liked, but we got there. Let's do the Pokeball as well. This one I am just going to sketch because it's an easier shape, although it's kind of two different balls. I'm sure we can work it out pretty quickly. I'm just drawing a couple of circles. I don't really want them to snap to those lines. Unfortunately, those lines are part of the same sketch that's showing the pattern, so it's a bit hard to not put them in. I could turn off automatic snap, sketch tools, sketch settings, automatic enable snapping. I'll just turn that off and I can reposition it how I need. That's good there. And this one is good there. And what we're going to do on this shape, I think what we'll do is kind of do a silhouette of the ball. So all the white area in the middle, we'll get rid of that, which actually means I'll just go a bit bigger on this one. Go for this size here. And then I'm going to turn that snapping back on. Sketch from, let's say, here to here. Again, we don't need to be perfect on this. In fact, let's go from one side to the other. Let's trim away what we don't need. Out there. Just to make it a nice curve, it should probably go from one side to the other like this. That's fine, and that's fine too. They don't need to be perfect arcs. So the parts I'm going to cut away will be the top and the bottom. So we're going to go extrude cut, select this contour and this contour, and go through all and select this top body. That's looking pretty good. Now, last trick, I also want to do a repeat of that Pokémon cutout that's on the other side, so that we're covering, you know, both sides of the ball. So to do that, I'm going to take this sketch here, make it into a block, select it, and do circular sketch pattern by 2. And that's going to work because I've done my whole assembly around the origin. So the origin's there, and it's using that as the default point to rotate that sketch around. It's going to be close enough. All right. There is the top of our box. So if we just have a look, we can see what that looks like. Last couple of steps, we're just going to do the rest with a hexagonal pattern. Now that hexagonal pattern on this one, the size of the hexagons is about 6 millimeters. Click here and use a fill pattern, and you're going to do a staggered shape, C cut, 6-sided, size being 6 millimeter, direction across here, size between them will be like 10. Yeah, so at the moment it's gone a bit crazy. You don't want to do it like that. 10, okay. It's not enough space. We need to reduce the size, which we can do, and reduce the clearance from the surrounding holes. We can't do much of that. And the spacing doesn't quite look right. Should be 45. We're just reducing that to a better size. And you know what? It doesn't look as good as I thought it would. I think we can skip it. All right, so there's the top of our box. Let's repeat the pattern on the bottom side as well. Now to do that, we want to reverse things. It's a little bit trickier. How can we do it? We will do it this way. We're going to create a sketch on this top face. We're going to select this sketch and convert edges, and this sketch and convert edges. I'm going to delete the bits that we're keeping, delete the bits we don't need actually. I'm going to make it into, I'm going to put a dot here on the origin and make the whole thing into a block. Press OK. That's going to save the block in that place. I'm going to copy the block to the bottom face. I'm going to drop it here, and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. And then I'm going to go extrude cut. I'm going to select my contours. That's going through all. And now I have the same thing top and bottom. All right, we are looking good. Just before we 3D print, I'm going to have to delete some of these little overhangs. Just clean up those edges. So I'm just going to use delete face to quickly do that. Just clean up that one, clean up this one here. Just simplifying a little bit. Oh, I do have to do that on every face. Yeah, it's going to be a bit annoying actually. Maybe it wasn't the greatest idea using this logo, but it's just a bit of experimentation, right? Bit of fun. Okay, so that's off that side. On the green side, we'll do the same ones. And then we're just about ready to export. Okay, done. Now, just before we export it, let's separate them, just so they're easier to import into our 3D print. I'm going to use a delete and keep body tool. So I'm going to keep this body, and then I'm going to go File, Save As, and save it as a step, and give it the name top. And then I'm going to do another feature and change it from the top to the bottom, and go File, Save As, and name that one bottom. And we're done now in SolidWorks. I'm going to save that file, close this down, jump onto my other computer for printing, okay, and I'll see you over there in a second. So into Bamboo Studio here, all we're doing is just importing the step files that we exported. We're getting them on the main flat face of the parts. This is the easiest way to print these without any supports. And just assigning materials and doing a slice just to see how they go. I think we're just using a standard sort of settings here, so we're not expecting anything too fancy, and we can see how these turned out. So here we have the first samples. Look, the prints came out nice, but the design with the cutout just didn't work. And the card fit in the bottom piece is just still a bit too loose. So let's do better. So I've taken it back into SolidWorks here. Just opened up the original file, and I'm just making some tweaks. So first off, I'm fixing those fillets. So the fillets were 0.5 mm off what they should have been. And then with the logo, I'm going back to the downloaded file that I had, and I'm just re-editing it. And this time I've taken, kept the two sort of outlines of the Pokemon so you can actually still see the text, with my idea just to do a simple 0.2 or 0.3 millimeter cut down, just to create a different surface. And in that surface then, in the 3D print, I can actually do something a bit different now. Again, the graphics or the sketches themselves needed a little bit of tweaking, but not nearly as much. So it was just tweaking these O's. So I did one colour on the top, and then on the bottom edge, I was just going to put my son's name in, just so we can identify this. You know, he's taking it to school, first time at school, so yeah, just make it a bit easier for him to find. And then to hold the whole thing together, giving him some rubber bands. So just putting a little recess in on the top face and the sides of the bottom face, just to allow that rubber band to sit neatly. So that detail worked pretty well. The other changes I'm making, I'm just adding a few more fillets. So I'm going to print this face up second time round, so that the Pokemon and that top face gets a nice smooth finish. And on the bottom, I'm just going back to the original hexagon feature. So I've done that properly this time with the fill pattern. I was just tweaking the settings here to try and get something that worked nicely. This one works pretty well. And just add a few more fillets around the place to make it a nice, smooth kind of model. So after that's done, again, exported the step files back into Bamboo Lad, put them back down to the top face. Now you can see on this one, I'm using the paint tool to paint in those recessed areas. So I've got the AMS with my Bamboo Lab, which means I've got 4 different filaments available. So I'm using the black for the main body and a matte white for those recessed text areas. And then I was playing with the ironing, which is the very top layer of the print. It just smooths it out a little bit with an extra layer of print. Can you hold it up for the camera? So let me show the camera. You happy with it? Thumbs up. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and found something new to enhance your SolidWorks skills. Don't forget to subscribe to Fully Defined for more tutorials, tips and insights from a certified SolidWorks expert. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I read all comments and love hearing your feedback. Remember, with the right skills and tools, you can turn your design dreams into reality. Keep modeling, keep learning, and always fully defined.